right. Hey everybody, it's Jason Shadrick with Premier Guitar, and we're at the Summer NAMM show in Nashville. We're at the Boss booth with the Australian looping boss, Carl, here. And you heard just a little bit of their new looper on the intro. We're going to get a little deeper into it now. But Carl, tell us a little bit about the new RC-10R that you have down here.
All right, so essentially it's they're calling it a groove box, and it's absolutely what it is. Up until now, most loop stations, you have to create your own beat, you have to rely on your own personal rhythm, which not all of us have. So the RC-10R is kind of a hybrid rhythm station, groove station, and looper. So it's got over 280 loops and different kinds of beats. It's got a bunch of different kits, so you can have like an R&B kit or a cajon kit for acoustic sort of stuff, metal, techno, whatever kit. So actually this that I was just playing before was an R&B beat from an R&B kit, and then I made a cajon play it. So you got total creativity there. And then what happens is you hit the rhythm, you set the tempo for whatever you want, and then you can loop along to it. Okay. And you can separate the loop and the rhythm totally separate. So it becomes a really creative tool for songwriting or any like acoustic soloist that just needs a little extra, you know, which is incredible.
So show us, kind of walk through how you would create kind of what you did, similar to something you did in the intro there.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the moment I've got everything that I just created, but I'll cancel it back out again and show you exactly what I'm doing here. So, all right. So I've just set this beat that you heard in the intro. So I've set it to give me an intro for the rhythm. So it'll give me like a 4 count, and as soon as I've set it up to sync directly to the record. So as soon as it gives me the 4 count, it's going to instantly start recording, and I just play whatever I want to play. Okay. And when I'm done playing to the end of my little loop, then I'll hit the loop button over here, okay, and it'll essentially just continually play what I just played. Okay. And what I'll do on this little part is I'll add a pattern B, so this is what separates it from a lot of other loopers as well, is you get stuck on the same chord progression and you can't change, whereas this has got pattern A and pattern B, so you can have a verse and a chorus or a bridge, or change the intensity in a different chord structure. So yeah. So I'll just do 2 different chords to show you the different changes. Okay. But I'll start here in A. So here's the intro. There we go. So now I'm going to go up the chord and it's going to change the intensity when I hit this. So right. So the cool thing now is I can switch between them seamlessly. So now I can put my guitar down and sing Valerie. Yeah, absolutely. So there's pattern 1 and pattern 2, which is cool. So now let's say I'm singing this song, I'm getting up close to the chorus, and I want to be able to hit the chorus. I'm going to switch to pattern 2, and it's going to change to my pattern 2, which, I mean, for the sake of this demo, I've just used 2 different chords, but you'll have 2 different chord patterns, or you'll use a different intensity, which is really cool. That's mainly the specific feature that this has that no other loopers have, so for that creativity. Another thing that you can do on a dynamic basis is undo anything that you mess up, which you can do on most other loop stations, but this one you can redo it. Okay. So if you don't mess up, the idea is you can create additional, like what I would do is do some harmonies and some extra guitar licks and all that sort of stuff, and then I'd remove that and then add that back to build an extra layer of intensity there too. So that's pretty sweet. I'm going to switch over to another preset that I just created for the demo's sake. It's a different kit. It's more of a studio sounding kit. So I'm just going to scroll here. So this is a soul beat, kind of a swing sort of thing. And what I'll do is I'll actually start the beat, and I'll show you can infinitely scroll, because it's MIDI, you can scroll the tempo all the way down, all the way up, so you can get really creative with the drum beats. So this is the beat. So I'm going to scroll it all the way down to like more of an R&B tone, because I'm feeling creative R&B style, right? So I'm going to swing over here to the tempo. I'll swing over here to the tempo, and then drop it down to something low like that. So, all right, now I want to record something to that, and I want to sync it. It gives me a nice little outro there. It's cool. I'm going to sync it, so I'm going to do some kind of an Erykah Badu style something. I don't know. Well, let's see what happens. But Let's do this. There we go. So we got like a cool R&B. I'm going to use this synthesizer, which they'll tell you about later. Put a little bass line down there. There we go. So we've got a cool little groove there. So if I want to take that bass line off, let's say I've layered a bunch of stuff on there, I want to bring the dynamic intensity back down, I can undo that and it'll bring it back down to like kind of a verse thing. But the handy thing is I didn't mess up and it might be coming back around to a second layer of the verse, so I can add it back in. There we go, I got the bass back in there, which is super cool.
Yeah, right?
And I mean, ultimately, this would be the equivalent of taking your F-150 truck out to pick up the groceries. But for anybody that's got even just the RC-1, just the single pedal looper, you know, I mean, this is only 1.5 times the size of that. It's tiny. It's got a really small footprint. I'm not going to use the rhythm now.
Okay.
For anybody that's just got a standard regular loop station and don't want to incorporate the rhythm, you can just totally, I might use the microphone for this. It's plugged in via some of these, these other pedals. So we've got stereo in, stereo out, and you can actually separate the loop and the rhythm, so the instrument and the rhythm on the separate outputs, which is handy. But for the sake of this, I'm just going to treat it like a normal loop station that doesn't have rhythm programmed into it. So I'm just going to loop. I'll stick with that nice little. Actually, no, I'll do something different. Here we go. So. So I've got this. I'm going to create a little beat here. And then I might like beatbox a little. I don't know, you can get, you know. Just treat it as a normal looper, you know, and then just sort of solo over it. It's the last couple of harmonies, and I can add them back on again. So, and for the sake of it, we're done. Oh, sorry. I was on a different setting. But yeah, man, it's a super powerful tool. I feel like anybody who hasn't got a looper with a spare spot on their board, you know, or anybody who wants to be really creative, I feel like I'm going to use this. I mean, there's so many different loopers out there, you know, but I'm going to use this for a purely creative standpoint. You know, I feel like I can roll between verse, chorus, I can change the beat on the fly. Any of those beats after I've even looped in the middle of a loop like that. Hypothetically, if I was in that one, if I was using the rhythm track, the actual beats on the drums that were there, I can just change the whole drum kit to be some kind of an 808 electronic beat, or I can make it a brushes jazz kit or whatever. So you can be really creative on the fly, which is what you need. You need something real quick, you know.
So what'll be the pricing and availability for the new loop station here?
So these are going to retail for $299, and availability here in the US, they're looking at September.
Cool.
So yeah, and they'll go pretty quick, I feel like.
So where can people go online to find out more information about the loop station and everything else Boss is doing?
So they've got all the information. Go boss.info, and you'll find everything you need to know there. Yeah.
All right, man. We're going to have you play us out with some.
All right.
All right. So this is Jason Shadrick with Premier Guitar.
Yeah. All right.